What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin, and you're watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch, where we join up with Zach Stone every Friday to talk about the Lorcana news, meta trends, and card prices. First up, we have some brand new information that was revealed to us this week, going over the new format for the World Tournament. If you didn't know, the World Tournament is going to be hosted pretty soon. We're not going to be a part of it, but we are going to be able to watch the streams, and now we know the actual format that the players for this tournament are going to have to play. Zach Stone, how you doing today? And would you like to give us a little bit of a breakdown for those of us who don't necessarily understand the tournament landscape yet?
Well, how's it going, Kevin? And yes, I'm doing pretty fine, and I'm glad you guys are here watching the Friday Market Watch. And yes, this is very interesting in that the World Championship formats are going to be played between two different ones. The first one, it's a sealed portion. You're not picking cards out of a pack and passing it around like you would in a draft format. You're getting a super sealed format, and that's 4 packs of Shimmering Skies, 4 packs of Azurite Sea, 4 packs of Arcasia's Island, and 4 packs of Reign of Jafar. You get to build a deck using 3 colors, and that's a lot of cards. I think we were doing the math. It's 192 total cards that you get between 4 different card pools. And you're getting guaranteed a common out of every color from all those packs. So you have a lot of cards to choose from. Majority of the cards you're going to be using are going to be common. However, you're going to get some good rares, and you're going to get some decent other playables from these sets. So it's very interesting that they're going to have this portion in the first round. I'm curious to know if it's ever going to be like X amount of rounds and then day 2 is played. Like I'm not too sure, but the other format, the triple deck format, that is going to be a very interesting format. Players are going to have to make decks using all of the ink colors, and that means they can't overlap any other color with another color pair. So yes, all 6 colors are going to be used by each deck, and out of those 3 decks, you get to see your opponent's decks and choose a deck that they do not get to play. You are benching their deck, and you have to play with your remaining 2 and win with both your decks to advance in that round. Each game you play will be a best 2 out of 3 match. Players are going to be playing up to 9 games of Lorcana, and that's exciting. I mean, Kevin, when you first saw this news, how did you feel?
I, for one, am excited overall just to watch the World Tournament. In general, I'm not a big fan of sealed play. That sealed as in when you get packs and you have to make a deck out of that. Super sealed seems like a pretty fun way to get a tournament going in general. I'm not sure how the world's competitors feel about it, but personally, it's not my favorite just because there is a little bit of that extra RNG going into this tournament kind of landscape because you are getting random packs from random box sets, right? There is a world where the person next to you gets better cards in the card pool, maybe some hard-hitting rares or legendaries that are really impactful, and maybe you just don't get those in your packs. And in a bigger tournament landscape, it's for sure a little bit harder, I think, to make sure that everything is going according to plan when it comes to playing a sealed event. But overall, I really like this triple deck constructed format. Even I would go as far as to say that I would love to see this implemented in a main event, in a big main event. I know, Zach, you said it would probably take forever to do that. Maybe there's even a quicker way to do it, where instead of best of 3, you have to win 1 game with 2 of your 3 decks. That'd be really fun. Instead of winning a whole match with each one, you just got to win 1 game. But I really like this format. This is going to be really cool to see on stream in Top Cut. This is going to be my favorite part of watching the tournament. The sealed play, not as much in terms of like hard-hitting gameplay. I think a lot of it is going to boil down to like making certain trades or having certain cards on board that are just overstated, really powerful in your sealed constructed deck. But I do like that they have the sideboard ability in the sealed part, though. I want to go over that because I think that's really important. We've had a conversation before on the channel and in the community about whether or not Lorcana needs like a side deck or a sideboard, and maybe this could be the beginning of introducing that into the competitive landscape. I think that's pretty cool. I think Lorcana would be really fun with the side deck option with the sideboard. I think it adds like an extra layer of skill to the game, especially when you're playing sealed, right? Because you really have to know the card pool in which you use to build your deck. I also like that they changed the restrictions to 3 colors. three colors in this sealed format, and then we also have the stipulation that you have to use every single color in this triple deck constructed format. So you can't just play like blue, red, ruby, amethyst, and another red deck, right? You can if you're gonna use red as one of the colors, you can only use it one time. So me as somebody who enjoys ruby amethyst, I think wow, I would love to pick ruby amethyst as my color. But looking overall at the meta landscape, you probably want to dedicate the ruby slot to something a little bit more consistent or overpowered like sapphire ruby, right? So that means somebody like me would have to pick other decks to master or learn, or maybe you do pick ruby amethyst because that's the deck you're most comfortable with, and you pick two other decks instead amongst the remaining colors. Overall, I like this a lot. I think it's going to be so fun to watch. Regardless, it would have been a really cool tournament to watch, but this gives it a little bit more, some more content for sure. It's a bunch of games that we're going to see. I would love to see this implemented in tournaments for us, though. Us knaves over here who don't necessarily get to compete in.
Yeah, it would just take forever, but it would be a nice little fun thing to do amongst friends. And honestly, I kind of miss playing certain games with this kind of format implemented. But yeah, let's go over some card news today. We have the Iago D23 Gold member promo. This one is hitting as high as $100 right now, and I'd actually like to see the sales on this card because I'm curious to know if it's actually being paid for at that price. And there you guys go. You got two sales at $111 each, and this is a very interesting, thing to see. There's not too many listed on TCG Players. I think it's kind of important to check all spaces for cards like this. eBay is helpful. You might be able to find some on Mercari. And there's this damaged one here that, I think might have shown up like this. I would say this is very unfortunate to see. This might be something that can be amended by Disney themselves, but this is unfortunate. But how they are looking to sell this for $90, and if somebody's happy with this, then I hope it makes sense. But this is something that I wouldn't buy. It's not too far off a near mint one. I would try to sell a damaged one for a lot less if I really needed to move it. Kevin, do you have one of these?
I don't have one of these. I am not a D23 Gold member. I am a regular D23 member because I would like to go to the convention again. That was really fun. But I do not have this card. It looks really nice in person as a collectible, though. It's probably going to go down in price, just same way the Mickey D23 went down in price. These are probably a little bit more scarce, though, just because you really only can get them through the mail from what it looks like. So I unless they do this thing like they did with the D23 sets where they decide to re-release them somehow. So because Disney Lorcana likes to do that, I'm not gonna put my money on these sticking around being this price for a while. There's a lot of other cards though that have been going down in price that I think are looking kind of nice to pick up for your collection if you haven't already, like the Oswald Lucky Rabbit and D23 promo. These today are selling for as low as $50 to $40. Zach Stone, look, we have a non-verified seller has it listed for $40, and then the lowest verified is $50 with 49 cents. And I did add this to my cart just to see if it was gonna work, if it was legit. And yeah, you can add it to your cart. So it's a deal right there from a non-verified seller. But this card was selling for $100 for a long time, around 90 to more than 100, 116, 120. At one point, this card was super overhyped because of the Sapphire Steel meta. Sapphire Steel items in the beginning of this format, I think caused this card to jump up to around $120. Then we had the re-release of the D23 boxes that we were just mentioning, and now this card is around $40 to $50. So they're really cheap right now. I think a lot of Enchanteds are pretty cheap right now and worth looking into and worth picking up, especially some of the more playable ones like Prince Naveen over here. I think Prince Naveen has been going down from $100 to around $80, and it's kind of having a bounce back, especially now with the new Sapphire song coming out, the 6-cost uninkable song. You can play it with your Prince Naveen. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about that combo, and now the lowest verified for Prince Naveen is $85. Market is $81, so it is a little bit higher than its market price. Some of them were selling for around $75 to $80-ish, so you're gonna have to pay a little bit more than $80 now, but I still think it's worth it, at least if you're trying to build this Sapphire Amber deck, right, Zach?
Yeah, I know that there's a little bit of an issue trying to make that card color. I know there's an issue of trying to make that color pair work. And for example, if you are going to be playing Naveen and down in New Orleans, it's going to force you to build your deck around that. And there's a lot of other cards in that card pool that I think benefit from a more lower to the ground standpoint. and that's probably not what you want to do. But Prince Naveen is still a very powerful card. This card will not be rotated out post Fabled coming into the game, so that's another thing to think about too. Anything from set 5 and on always deserves a second look at, and there's a lot of playability with this card. It's a Singer 6, casts a 6 cost song or less for free from your hand, and that's very strong. And something else that casts 6 cost actions for free is this Robin Hood Sharpshooter. This is the Enchanted from Shimmering Skies as well, going up in price. And today we have our lowest seller at $125. That is a unverified seller. If you want to go to a verified one, you're going to pay $140 at Trading Collectible. That's got you there today. Look at this. There's a lot of sales throughout the week. I know TCG Player had that 10% kickback, so a lot were moving around that time. I know that there was a lot of sales from my account on there. So yeah, this is very much a good card, a good Enchanted, and a lot of people are giving the ones that are going to be into post rotation a second look at. Overall, I don't know if this card's ever going to be meta. It's very hard to pull off, but we'll see. I've always liked this card, and I think there's a lot of different actions like You Came Back that can kind of put this over the edge. We are getting the new Raya that lets you ready characters that has no limitations. So, what do you think, Kevin? Is Sharpshooter making a return?
I don't know, man. A lot of people have been trying to make this card work for a while. I do like that it's more than $100 again because the artwork is just lovely. So selling at more than 100, I'm not surprised. Playability though, it's gonna be post rotation, and we just don't know what we're gonna have post rotation reprints. We could have like some of the craziest reprints, some of the most unnecessary reprints in Fabled, and we just don't know yet. So we have no idea of knowing what that meta is going to look like. However, I just realized that you could also play down in New Orleans off of this Robin Hood, Zach. Yeah, and you could also use cards like the new Lilo. You can use that new sword of something, the new Ruby sword that lets you re-ready your character, so lets you combo off a lot with this Robin Hood strategy, maybe. So I can see why people are taking second looks at cards like this. There's also a lot of cards that are going up in price as well. Enchanteds that are going up in price as well, like the Return of Hercules Enchanted. These were selling for around $60 to $65. Market price today is $69, and the most recent sales are going to be $64. We have some sales happening at $92 to $80 though. These are really high in comparison to the other ones, but some in between that at around $76. So lowest verified today is going to be 92. Sorry, it's a non-verified seller, and the lowest verified is at 115 by BT Card Collectors. So no sales yet at that $100 mark, but we have seen some sales already at $75 to $90 for the Return of Hercules, another card that is going to survive a rotation post set 9. It's so funny because like set 8 is coming out, right? But I feel like a lot of the conversation around deck building is just rotation, post rotation, right? So it almost feels like we're kind of taking a big step over step 8. I mean, over set 8, just because of everybody's interest in like what's gonna happen when set 9 comes out. Dragonfire, the Dragonfire promo, these are going back up in price a little bit too. The Enchanted's market price was less than $35. Today, the lowest verified is $37, and another one right here for $37.99. Nerd Rage Gaming, crazy deal. Shout out you guys for these low prices. We have recent sales selling at around $37, $35. So these were definitely selling for around 30, a little bit less than 30 at some point, and it's good to see them jump back up to almost $40 for your Dragonfire promos. I wonder if it's because Dragonfire is used in Ruby Amethyst more now, or if it's just because people realize we're not getting any DLCs anytime soon. So without DLCs, or some of us are missing out on some of the free promos we could be getting, right?
Yes, and not only that, they don't know if we're going to be having this promo again. This is not something that's guaranteed in the next announcement of the DLCs, which is going to happen during the Worlds tournament. So I'm going to be watching the Worlds tournament. I'm excited for that alone, but I can't wait to find out when we're going to go to the next DLC, Kevin. That's very exciting for me, and
Same,
I'm
same.
very much looking forward to the next event, seeing all you goons there. And speaking of the Goon Squad, if you guys aren't in our Discord, I would please appreciate you guys joining and getting involved in the community. A lot of people are sharing decks, talking about meta trends, market trends. So make sure you join with our link down below and get involved in the Goon Squad community. But yeah, the Maui Hero to All Enchanted is going back up as well. We're seeing prices hit $200 again when I know that this went down to around 160, 170, and that's in reaction to the set rotation and the news, I would say. But I personally had like a couple Mauis in the case, and when I saw it go down, I took them back out. I felt like this was not something that was going to be permanent. It's an Enchanted, and they aren't going to reprint Enchanteds, and that's a very good thing for collectors. So please make sure you consider that in your decisions when you're going to be picking up these cards. Are you going to pick them up when they're low? Are you going to wait and see? Who knows?
No, I 100% agree. I think one of the big things about rotation that people are kind of forgetting is that there is somewhat of an implication there that once the sets get rotated out, they're not going to be in print anymore. So if they rotate out first chapter and they reprint cards from the first chapter in the new sets, they have zero reason to keep printing and keep restocking the first chapter at Targets. And for the longest time, I know a lot of Lorcana collectors, whether you're like hardcore playing, hardcore collecting, even passively, you picked it up in the first couple chapters and you kind of cooled off a bit. So many people, though, everyone encompassed asks, when are they going to stop reprinting first chapter, right? Because it's a very big question. If you're a collector, when are they going to stop printing the very first set of Lorcana, right? And if you have the first set of Enchanted, some sealed booster boxes right now, while they still are in the metagame rotation, which is what they're meant to be for, right? So because you can use cards from the first chapter. I think now is a good time to start thinking about that, because coming set 9, which is, let's estimate what, September, October. Those sets are no longer in rotation, so I don't expect them I don't expect to be seeing them at Target after like set 9 comes out, and even less now that we're on the verge of like set 8 releasing. So it's only a couple months away, right? It's gonna happen this year. Some other hard-hitting enchantments before we call it a day on the enchanted section. Tramp Enterprising Dog, going back up to more than $150. Market price is $145, but look at all these recent sales, my Lorcana Goons. $160, $170, $155, $172. If you picked up your Tramps early in the format, these were less than $100. People realize, hey, Dog's actually a really good deck. Lady in the Tramp combo is pretty nice, and we're just getting so much more support for this deck. And especially if you're playing this deck, you gotta match the Enchanted Tramp with the new Enchanted Lady, right?
100%. That pair is too cute to mess up on. And I really like that they're giving a lot of support for this deck. They're really showing us that that's what they kind of want to push into the next meta, into the after post rotation. And I'm excited for it. This Hero Hamada set champ card, the card that you guys have been going out to locals every weekend for, this card is at $36 right now for the top 8 promo. And I think the one that you get for participating is about $5. So it's looking like you're getting $40 in value if you're able to make the top 8 of these set champs, and I believe the last weekend is this weekend. So good luck to all you guys playing in set champs this weekend. I know Red Saber Games, a collectible exchange, has a really nice tournament. So if you guys are looking for a place to go and you're in the Southern California area, I'd really recommend checking them out because their tournament is awesome. They're not only just giving out these Hero Hamadas, they're giving out multiple play sets of Enchanteds throughout the top 8. So make sure you guys check out Red Saber Games on Instagram to go ahead and play in that tournament. But yeah, I haven't gotten to play any set champs, Kevin. I know you haven't gotten to play any set champs, Kevin. This is sad because I really like to play in these, but hopefully during the reign of Jafar, I'll have some more time and I'll be able to take a weekend off and play in a couple.
Yeah, this is us once again asking Ravensburger to allow game stores to host set championship tournaments on weekdays again, please, because some of us are just working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we can't really make it out to them. But good luck to everybody playing set champs tournaments last weekend. Better get them heroes, win some mats for the Lorcana Goon Squad community, and drop the links in our Discord so we can talk about them on Monday. Because if you guys have been watching the Lorcana Goons channel, we used to do Market Watch videos on Monday and Friday. Now it's only Fridays, but on Mondays, Zach and I team team up again to do a Mulligan meta video. Mulligan Mondays is what we call it. It's more of a meta watch. We go over the weekend meta and we teach you guys how to Mulligan with those decks, right? So yeah, Hero Hamada Armor Designer going to be selling for around $40, which is pretty good, I think, for a Set Champs promo if you're playing at these tournaments. And shout out to Red Saber Games for hosting awesome tournaments in the Southern California area, and shout out to all the local game stores for hosting tournaments right now, keeping the game alive, because I know I'm not the only one feeling like the game has kind of taking a little bit of a pause, if you will. It's been slowing down the track a little bit, taking a little bit of a step back. It went from sprinting to jogging. Now we're borderline walking, is what it feels like in the TCG space. Lorcana is such a great game mechanically, so I'm like not ever gonna stop playing it. I don't think I'm ever gonna not like it. I actually really like the rotation stuff because it kind of makes me feel like the power creep is gonna slow down. So the game itself, mechanically, wonderful game. I'd love to play it. It's right now though, the lack of events, the lack of events, the lack of online digital client. There's a couple things that I think we are lacking in the TCG space, especially compared to other card games, and it does feel like less people are playing the game, less people are keeping their cards, and it's definitely showing it in these market prices. I have not seen Rapunzel less than $40 since I don't even know when. I don't think I've ever seen Rapunzel less than $40 since the first chapter, bro. Feel Good Gaming LLC, lowest verified, has 3 Rapunzels for you right here, 36.89. These are a good price, but pick them up now at your own risk because they could be rotated out. This card could not be reprinted in the future, and your Rapunzels will not be playable at your local game store tournaments unless they're specifically hosting the Infinity format. Cold foils are still a pretty good price though, $76 for a cold foil Rapunzel. I like that they're keeping value, especially like collectability wise post rotation. There's no Enchanted Rapunzel in the first chapter, so if you want to collect the first chapter stuff, you're gonna want a cold foil Rapunzel. $36 though. It's just unheard of, and it could keep going down. It could literally keep going down. We don't know what's going to get reprinted. Even certain cards that we know are going to survive post rotation are coming down in price. I think because there's less reason to buy Lorcana right now. There's no regional events. There's no DLCs. There's no online events like a lot of other card games have. $44 is the market price for your Maui Half Sharks, but today lowest verified for a near mint is going to be $43. Shipping included by Karibo's Corner TCG for your Maui Half Sharks, which is one of the best cards in the game. And I think this might be the most expensive non-enchanted or like the most expensive legendary right now. Cold foils are still $70, which again, keeping a good price. So the cold foil legendaries, they're maintaining some decent value while this like market crash is happening. And now look at some of the legendaries that are in set 4, which is going to get rotated out. $9 chat for your Sisu's Empowered Siblings. These are $8.94 with shipping included by DXN Provisions. Wow, these have just been coming down in price, and this is the reason why a lot of vendors even are probably only offering like way less for your Lorcana cards right now. If you're going to sell them back to your local game stores or sell them to your local vendors, they're probably offering way less on some of these cards that aren't going to survive the rotation, right?
Yeah, it's a little challenging for myself to want to pay as high as 70% on a lot of these cards, just because it is a very, very like slower market, and it's a hard thing for me to look at, but generally I know that long term it's going to be something that's, I think, worth it. You have to consider Infinity format as well as the fact that they might and possibly will reprint some of these cards. Not even necessarily in set 9 too. They can have reprints throughout the whole sets. They could change the artwork, change the rarity, who knows, but this is this is an interesting time. So if you guys are, if you guys like this game and love this game, then I think, we'll see you guys, throughout the rest of this show. But Robin Hood Champion of Sherwood is definitely at its lowest point that I've seen it in a very long time. I think it's like the lowest time ever. So it's $15, and it's been going down just even before the announcements of news. This card was like kind of seeing less play in Amber Steel decks, and there's not necessarily a lot of support for like the full Robin Hood archetype yet, so they may or may not have this card come back. I know that it's still a very powerful card. The ability to challenge and gain lore, I think, is very overpowered. However, that this might not be fast enough. You might need to be able to go wider instead of just dropping big statted bodies. It does allow you to sing Whole New World a little bit early, but yeah, It also is a very interesting thing. The $8 Maleficent Dragon, which we know will be in the post rotation, and this is very cheap. This is a very cheap card, a very good pickup for those that have not picked up any copies. I'd recommend getting just a playset to have. We know that this card is going to be back into the format after the rotation, and cold foils are sitting at about 50, $55. So
Hmm.
that means to me that I'm not really looking to get rid of
Oh,
any of those. There's a lot of cards that are I think are really cheap, and I'd rather hang on to them. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can decide what you guys want to do with your own stuff. But yeah, cards like these I'm just hanging on to. I'm not selling because they're just a little too low for me.
especially if we know that they're going to be playable in post set 9. Like if I have cold foil Mally Dragons right now, and right now they're $50 when they used to be 70, 80, even 100 at some point. I know it's going to get reprinted in set 9. I mean, yeah, set 9. It's probably going to have the same artwork. It'll be a different foil for sure, because we know that they're going to use the new foiling for those sets, so they're going to be distinguishable, right? This could be a really good Ruby card again. It could be one of the best legendaries again. So I have no reason to not want to keep it. But that's for cards we know for sure that are getting reprinted. What about a card like Elsa, where it's just up in the air? We don't know if this card's going to get reprinted again anytime soon. I know a lot of people don't want the Enchanted to get reprinted, so who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But this card is definitely falling in price too. They were definitely closer to around $15. Today, the market price is $8.48. Refined Gaming LLC has the lowest verified for 8.48, shipping included. Shout out you guys right there. And cold foils are still going to be around 40 plus dollars, which is really cool to see actually. 44.80, lowest verified by VCB Games for a cold foil Elsa Spirit of Winter from the first chapter. There's a couple other cards I want to talk about though, like actual meta staples that I think are going to be way more than usable and relevant in the upcoming metagame, future of the metagame. So like set 8, set 9. Currently, I think Dog Bolt Knight is still one of the best cards in the game. Going to be used for sure in set 8. If you guys have not read that Sapphire Steel Jasmine ally card, I think that makes this card even way better. Also playing what's the Desperate Plan card, also I think is just really good with Doc. But point is, they're really cheap still, less than their market price today. $7 is the lowest verified by Village TCG, and the market price is $8. So try and get a deal right now. I think if you're trying to pick up some cards before the new format. Calhoun, Marine Sergeant, these are less than $9 today. Market price is $7, and the lowest verified is $7.35 by Village TCG for your Calhoun Marine Sergeants. And if you ever wanted to play B Prep in your deck, these are on sale today. Lowest verified is around $5, 470 with $1.31 shipping by Village TCG, and the market price is around $5 for your Be Prepareds now, Zach.
Wow. That's a very good deal. Right now, it's very much the only card that does what it does. We don't have a similar card outside of Under the Sea that completely removes the characters, and that one is a little bit of conditional. This one just has no exclusion, can banish all characters, and I think as the only sweeper in the game, I would have to say that this card has to come back into the rotation.
I
There's
was
a
gonna
lot of
say,
cards that
no, go ahead, go ahead.
no, there's just a lot of cards that have to come back. I personally think that Be Prepared is one of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. I would be surprised if this doesn't get reprinted, or they have to reprint other cards that are like this, because Under the Sea, Be Prepared, and Grab Your Swords, they all came out in sets 1 through 4, if I'm not mistaken, and those are all the board wipes. We have some newer board wipes like the new Dual Ink Maui that's coming out, Bagheera also. They're a little bit more niche though. I think Be Prepared is such a necessary evil, such a good card. I don't know how I'm gonna win Lorcana games without being able to banish every character from the board. Today, super cheap card. If you want to add it to your deck, or if you've been wanting to build like a Ruby Amethyst deck or something. Another cheap card is the Prince Naveen Ukulele Player. Zach, we looked at the Enchanted earlier. These legendaries are sitting at around $6 right now, and like we mentioned, this is a card from Shimmering Skies, and I think the cards from set 5 and on are going to be pretty relevant in the near future. Maybe not this format immediately, but pretty relevant in the near future. These cold foils are sitting at around $9 for lowest verified. Is going to be 10.23. Should be included by the perk for your Prince Naveen. Some other cool cold foils that are worth looking at. The Pirate's Life. This is a card from set 4, so I do feel like after this set, it might not be sticking around, But today the market price is $9 for a cold foil, but looks like they're on sale online, 670 for your lowest verified Pirates Life cold foils if you want to pick those up for your deck this format. Pirates Life, such a good card. I think it's going to be so relevant in this upcoming Reign of Jafar format, this Reign of Jafar meta. Pluto Guard Dog, this is a very strong card. It's an ally. He's a 4 cost that lands on the board with 5 strength and 5 willpower. $3.12 lowest verified with some extra shipping by Groovy Vibe Shack for your cold foils. The market price is around $3. So yeah, $3 to $4 for this cold foil that I think is going to maybe make a very big impact in your future steel decks.
Yeah, it's a very good. I think Bodyguard is going to be a very important mechanic going into the post rotation. I think that there's going to be some very good aggressive cards that we still have to respect, and this can be played in Sapphire Steel. It is an ally, Kevin. Don't forget, Pluto is an ally. And yeah, I overall very overly stated card. A card that will not be coming back into the post rotation unless a reprint occurs, but has been seeing a lot more play in the Blurble Jafar decks is the Keeper of Secrets. He's from set 1. This is a character that gains a strength for every card in your hand, but has 2 lore. So he does make an impact on a board. He is on curve to shift your Jafar. So this is you play on 4, and you shift Jafar on 5, and you're playing Blurple, so you can even play this on turn 3. You're getting to play him a whole turn earlier. But yeah, cold foils right now are sitting at about a couple bucks, and that's actually interesting to see. You know, sales on this too, I think, have been kind of decent. It's not an expensive card if you're looking to get cold foil. However, no seller has more than 1 copy available for quite a while. So yeah, if you're looking to, pick up some stuff to play, even get cold foil from the first chapter, it might be worth it. Like we did mention earlier, that the foilings will not be the same, and these are cards that are a little bit hard to find. And if you're in the need of getting any singles, I'd recommend coming to visit me at Frank and Sons Collectible Show. I'm there every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. I do keep a lot of cards. I do keep a lot of foils, so make sure you guys stop on by, get your Lorcana needs. And where can the viewers find you at, Kevin?
Yes, I am in the North San Diego County at the Ninja Exchange Collectible Show in Carlsbad. It's at the shops in Carlsbad, which is basically a mall. I am there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're usually open from it's like 3 to 9 on Fridays. Saturdays open all day. Sundays open till 6 p.m. So if you're ever in that area, Southern California area, go visit Zach and I. We can go chop it up about Lorcana stuff. Maybe get a game in if either of us is free. I know Zach's like way more busy there than I am though. But yes, come say hi to us if you're ever in the Southern California area. We also have all the singles you need for the most part. I know Zach has a bunch of cold foil copies of a bunch of different Lorcana cards, possibly even Key to Creative Thinker, which is a $7 cold foil, Zach. This is a $7 cold foil. It's a 4 cost for Sapphire. Lowest verified is Tonus CCG 675 with some extra shipping costs. Why is this card so much?
I wish I could tell you, because I haven't seen this see a lot of play in any Sapphire decks I played against recently, but a lot of people seem to have confidence in it. I think once it initially spiked after the Hiram getting banned, I know that this card was like given a second look at. It does have ward, so it's a little bit tricky to remove unless you challenge it. And her ability, although doesn't net you a card in your hand, does net you a card in your inkwell, and you have knowledge of what you're drawing. You can kind of fix and potentially ink cards that are going to be bad in certain situations or in certain matchups. So it does have interesting ability. It doesn't necessarily strike too much of my interest right away, but it is Sapphire, and the goal is to get some extra cards in your inkwell, and that's what it does. And you're able to know what you're inking to, which I think is kind of important, unlike certain cards that just ink from your top deck and you don't get to see them.
Like Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck Detective. I can see the use case in this. It might, again, another card that might be good post rotation in case we lose some cards. But let's talk about some new cards coming out in Reign of Jafar that you should not be picking up for pre-orders, because this is way too expensive for any super rare in Lorcana. The Tramp Dapper Rascal. These aren't even cold foil, mind you. These are the prices for the pre-orders for non-foil versions of these cards. 1126. This card is not going to be this expensive. My Lorcana Goons is probably going to to be less than $1 at some point. And Desperate Plan, another very, very high impact card. These cards are going to be good in the metagame, right? But they're not going to be $11. Genie is probably the most expensive rare right now again, and he's around $11 to $12. So this card is already hitting that price as a pre-order. Just look out for it. Definitely look out for the cold foils of some of these cards. I think they might be worth picking up on the weekend of launch. But we'll talk about that next Friday, because Reign of Jafar hitting stores very, very soon. Zackerton Stone. The local game stores are gonna have it a week earlier than the big box retailers, if I'm not mistaken. So we're gonna have it the weekend of May 30th, right? That's next week.
Yeah, so Disneyland parks and local game stores get it May 30th, and big box stores will get it a week after. And yes, I'd recommend going to your local game stores and being part of the pre-release events and get some of these products as early as possible. Right now, you can get some boxes on TCG Player for about $122. I know that some people in different areas have a harder time making it out to game stores, so if that's the situation you're in, 120 is not too bad. That's below MSRP, and honestly, most stores are charging on average between $110 to $130 anyway. It might be worth it for you to get some through here. That way you don't run out, or there's may or not be a limit that local game stores have on how much you can get. Local game stores I also know of in the Southern California area will have pre-release events. So again, make sure to check those out. I'd love to participate in those, but again, our timing on the weekends is unfortunate, and that's when they like to do stuff. But hey, if you guys need any of this product next week, I know I'm going to have some extra boxes available. Kevin's going to have some. So yeah, guys, if you have any Reign of Jafar needs, make sure to check us out.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the set to come out. Next Friday, we have another market watch planned, obviously. So Zach and I are going to look at the prices from the morning of launch, and we're going to really give you our opinions and our feedback of what we think of the future of the metagame, maybe some of our favorite cards and what the prices are looking at. So be sure to stay tuned to Lorcana Goons for more. And until then, we'll see you Goons next time.